right, welcome once again. Today is the 28th of July in the year of our Lord 2015. Believe you me, I am happy. It's the beginning of a brand new week, even though it's a public holiday, but we're back here to do business. And as far as I am concerned, we will do just that. I'm not alone in the studio. This is Crossfire. This is Channel 196 on Star Times. Ishioma is with me in the studio, and we're running the show together. Ishioma, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you've been enjoying the public holiday.
I over-enjoyed it. I thought I'll be talking in the slow motion mode today because of the quantum of rest I had.
Or is it the quantum of rest, or you are really talking about how much of how much of stuff that you have consumed
rest.
really?
I tried to eat clean this weekend too.
All right, good enough. All right, at the same time, we have a guest in the studio and we'll be running the show together from beginning to end. Trust me, we have an interesting guest in the studio, and it's somebody called me personally and said, when are you bringing the engineer back on the show? And I said, I want him to rest because the elections, just wounded up, and don't worry, we'll bring him back. And we have him on the show this morning, believe you me, and I'm so excited to have him on the show. Let's welcome, he's a politician, and he's an engineer too, and he's very good at what he does. Let's welcome engineer Martin Onovo.
Welcome back, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Nigerians have been waiting to have you back, on the show and stuff, and I'm very sure many of them will be excited, and they are picking up their phones. Immediately we open the phone lines. I know they quickly will want to ask you one or two questions, and I hope you're just ready. Nigeria are very inquisitive. What have you been doing since the elections? We have not heard you, we have not seen you, you have not made any statement publicly and all of that. But then we'll leave that to our viewers, to do when it's time to call into the show. All right, quickly, let's go to business. We will go into one or two stories that are making headlines, and then we'll quickly, do that, and then we're going to addressing the state of the nation vis-a-vis the petroleum industry in Nigeria and what should be done, what should government do. Why we're doing that is because we have engineer Onovo in the studio, and this is his comfort zone, and we just want him to give us an insight into what has happened, what is happening now, and what the future of the petroleum industry is for Nigeria. All right, President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived at the Joint Base Engr International Airport in Washington, D.C., ahead of today's meeting with U.S. President Barack Obama. The course of the meeting in the United States is expected to offer help to Nigeria as the new leader tracks down billions of dollars that have been stolen in terms of assets and increased military assistance to fight, the insurgency in Nigeria. The visit to Washington, D.C. By President Muhammadu Buhari is viewed by the U.S. administration as a chance to set the seal on improving ties, political ties and economic ties with the United States of America. And then the U.S. cooperation with President Buhari's predecessor, Goodluck Jonathan, has virtually, created a ground, to be able to discuss so many issues, that the president of Nigeria will be going to discuss with the U.S. President, including his refusal to investigate corrupt public office holders and corrupt practices that needs to be addressed quickly in Nigeria. All right, Ishioma, the president, PMB is in the United States and is gone there to address some certain issues as it borders around, so many issues that we're going that Nigeria is going through at the moment. But believe you me, I think we should look at, we should look quickly at the four, prongs to, the four-pronged approach to his visits to the United States of America. We have been reliably told by the presidential spokesperson, Femi Adesina, he said this on Wednesday that the president is going to talk about security in Nigeria, which borders around war against terrorism, and as well as, discussing economic relations, economic relation, related matter. Let me put it that way. With Nigeria, that is building strong economic ties together, and at the same time, it is also to strengthen and intensify the bilateral and international cooperation that we probably will enjoy in fighting, the common insurgency in Nigeria and all of that. Anyway, all of these things, Ishioma, what's your opinion about the president's visit to the USA?
I completely believe some of these key elements are necessary for discussion. But as regards security, because for me, security is paramount to me. Well, security, I'm talking about lives and property. For me, it's paramount because without security, Nigeria is as good as zero, as good as grounded. But the thing here the issue I have here is because I know these discussions will be tied solely around the Boko Haram sect. But today it may be the Boko Haram sect. Tomorrow it may be another militia group. Let us look at kidnappings, for example. I mean, a lot of international countries, or some of these international countries, are afraid of coming down to Nigeria to do business. Many of them are skeptical on sending some of their representatives down to the country because of the alarming rate of kidnappings. Look at ISIS. Look at their own method of carrying out their terrorist attacks. You see them kidnapping key figures to send a message. Boko Haram, they have not resorted to doing that, but tomorrow they may resort to doing that. So the issue of kidnapping for me should be serious. And also still on security, the issue of one sect or one part of the nation trying to stay agitating for a cause to be recognized as another nation, as an independent nation. I mean, for me, it's sad that we're still having such cries and such claims. But God forbid tomorrow they decide to take their cry more serious, and then they're not partnering or aligning with some other miscreants to see that their story is heard in full. That could be another thing that could result to total security breakdown. Okay. So I do not want them to tie their the security talks alone to the Boko Haram sect. I want them to look at it from a holistic point of view. So that because today it may be Boko Haram, tomorrow it could be the Niger Delta militants, or it could be another militia group from another part of the country that may be clamoring for relevance. So I just want them to look at it holistically for me.
All right. The president will also be meeting with the vice president of the United States of America. That's Joe Biden. And this is, to probably address, the administration, the past administration in Nigeria, and to fight war, against corruption, as well as, fresh measures to boost Nigerian-United States trade relations. And, Onovo, what do you think? Do you think we can actually enjoy any benefit from this meeting in the fight against corruption in Nigeria, which is a major focus of the PMB?
Well, very importantly, because of the current trends in international relations and the international dimension of the financial corruption we have seen, bilateral cooperation with the U.S. will be very advantageous. Okay. It will be very advantageous. But such relationships have to be managed in a very, sophisticated manner. Yes, well-defined and managed in a very sophisticated manner. Because there is no country that's out there trying to just help another country.
Without any vested interest.
Yes, the best you can get is a symbiotic relationship. So in these bilateral talks, if you are not able to protect your own interests, then what happens is that the outcome, the outcome favors the other country's interest. So it's a lot of sophistication that's required. And do we need international assistance? Yes, because corruption is international. But this is what you need to extract in these talks. And it's not so easy to extract it.
All right, so we definitely will have to leverage on that bilateral relationship to be able to. And then before we leave this topic, something significant is planned as part of this trip to the United States, because the president's U.S. trip will also afford President Buhari the opportunity of a reunion with a member of the American War College, class of 1980, which he was a part of, in which he was, he was a very, very distinguished participant. People really expected his opinion and his expertise, And peradventure, this is aimed, as Ishioma already said, this is aimed at all of them sitting down and coming up with strategies to really fight the insurgency. Like Ishioma said, I totally buy into our opinion to ensure that we're not really talking about Boko Haram here, that our focus is actually to ensure that even if we eventually get rid of the current insurgency in Nigeria, we want to militate very seriously against a reoccurrence of such in Nigeria, maybe in a long time or forever, as the case may be, because this is the very first time in the history of Nigeria that we are really combating an internal, insurgency, the type, like Boko Haram, and the very lavish, terror that they have unleashed on the Nigerian people. People die every day and all of that. Do you think meeting with this group of people could eventually materialize into a strategy that can help fight the insurgency in Nigeria?
You see, some of those meetings are political and they are social, and there's nothing wrong with them. I am not sure that there is anything we need to fight terrorism except maybe weapons, which we cannot source locally. In terms of strategies, we have people in our armed forces who are trained across the world. We have generals who are trained in Russia. We have generals who are trained in China. We have generals who are trained in India. We have so many generals who are trained in U.S. War College. You can't reinvent knowledge. The leadership is still key. If you wish to do what is wrong and expect the right answers, it will not happen because you didn't create the world. You did not create this world. It's only God that can get any outcome he likes. The world universal system has rules that dominate it. And one of those rules is that if you want to get the right results, you have to do the right things. For example, the US has made several inputs into the war against terrorism and insurgency. Now, those inputs plus the inputs that we can locally generate, because don't forget, we have an array of law enforcement agencies. Police, SSS, Civil Defense, Navy, Air Force. These people are not incompetent. If you have the right leadership, they will give you the right strategy, and they will deal with Boko Haram. Let's take an example of the stories around Sambisa before the last 6 weeks of Jonathan's tenure. All those stories were on your program saying it's a myth that we can take over Sambisa if we decide to take over Sambisa. In the last 6 weeks when we decided to take over Sambisa, you saw the terrorists scampering away. Yes. How can 3,000 people hold 200 million of us to ransom? By what means? 3,000 vagabonds with very poor training? I mean, we have the resources, we have the capacity. Once the leadership is in place, you also don't have to be beggarly in international relations. Because a beggar has no choice and you get nothing.
Very true.
So when you come to the negotiation table, you need to have a few things that, okay, we're willing to do this if this happens and things like that. And you can extract benefits from this kind of bilateral relations, not only with the US, but with all the other countries. Canada, Germany, France. That's how it's done.
All right, there's a war slogan talking about collateral damage. I mean, there was a time I just sat back and I was just thinking generally, could the Nigerian government be very careful about, collateral damage? Like in the war against the insurgency, we don't want to kill more Nigerians than they have already killed. Could that also have contributed to the very slow pace and the kind of strategies that have been deployed so far in the fight against insurgency? I mean, the women are still there, the Chibok girls are still there. A lot of women, and girls and children that they are using as suicide bombers.
Yeah, but also bearing in mind now that after the raid, at the Sambisa forest, you've had some of these insurgents moving, leaving the forest because they do not have any hiding place.
Yeah, sure.
So now they're living in the communities amongst the people.
Sure.
And under this situation, it makes it more difficult for these military officers because now you can't just go and bomb and raid because now they're living with the people.
You're right, but there are stages in the war. And you're not going to fight a war that does not exist. When they were in camps, we needed to dislodge them from those camps. Now they're among us, you adjust your tactics to detect them.
Use more of intelligence.
Use more of intelligence. It's very simple. So everybody knows this, and we have experts. That's what I'm saying. I have basic security training, but I'm not an expert. I don't have the training the general has had all his career, 30 years career.
But the issue,
and you have so many people who have that training and who are competent.
But the issue, Mr. Dapo, is saying the issue of collateral damage, because the truth still remains that we may have high casualties of civilians. And remember the international community, the human rights group are watching also.
You see, collateral damage is a term we need to avoid. I agree that it is in the realm of reality, in the sense that once in a while, you aim a shot to one terrorist. He ducks and he hits an innocent man behind, okay. But we need to avoid it because it seems to justify it.
Okay.
But we also need to be practical. That it is possible that a Nigerian military sniper hides on a tree, aims a terrorist, shoots, and by chance he doesn't hit him and he hits an innocent person. That's possible. Now, why we need to do that it does not remove the sophistication of our people to extract. Let's use the Osama bin Laden assassination, for example. Do you know how they were able to detect Osama bin Laden where he was? They noticed that a particular building was not transferring his refuse to the public refuse. They were destroying the refuse. So they suspected that maybe Osama is there trying to hide something, that's why he's not. But when they moved in, you saw the initial plan, you saw the backup plan, and all that.
Just too perfect. Too good to be true.
All right. I mean, well said, and that will end the section for our trending stories. And then when we go on this short break, when we come back, we'll be talking about the Nigerian petroleum industry, and how much Nigeria has fared, and which way, going forward. We'll be right back.
So, did you like what you just saw? I know you did. It's very simple. If you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel right now.